Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Silibaziso Mupereki, and we can totally agree that this year was not the best. Definitely is a year that is going to go in the record books as the worst year possible. But guess what? We need to use this year. We need to use 2020 to be able to plan for the future. So by the end of this video, you're going to find out how you can use 2020 to plan for an effective 2021. So let's get into it. Okay, so honestly speaking, how was 2020 for you? I know we like focusing on, the bad things that happen, COVID-19, people losing their jobs, being homeless. And don't get me wrong, those are all terrible things. But come on, there were a few great things that happened this year. For example, for me, this year was the first time I was in the best top shape that I've ever been in, health-wise. And I'm grateful for that. Even though there were a lot of terrible things that was happening, like I moved 3 times in a matter of 1 month. So look at your own life. What great things have happened to you during 2020? Well, that is the first step of planning out for an awesome 2021. We need to reflect on what happened in 2020. How were your relationships, both romantic, professional, and friendship relationships? How were your finances? How was your health? Were you eating correctly? Were you exercising? How was your academics if you're a student? And I mean, most of my audience are students. Did you get the marks that you needed? If not, what happened? What could have gone better? What can you use from 2020 that you can use to improve 2021? What things went well? What things went badly? Those are all very important questions that we need to ask ourselves before we can move forward. As
Margaret Whitley says, without reflection, we go blindly on our way, creating more unintended consequences and failing to achieve anything useful. So this means if we're not learning from the mistakes that we made in the past, we will continue making those mistakes and not achieving anything useful.
after reflecting on how the previous year was, obviously you need to start doing the fun part, and that is dreaming. The best way to do this that will obviously not overwhelm you, to list them according to the categories. So obviously the main ones would be your personal life or your spiritual life. Then you've got your physical, which consists of your exercise and how you're going to eat. And then comes your work or your school career. Then obviously there's other things that can come with that, either relationships, family life, business, or organization you want to start, and that sort of thing. Depending on the type of person that you are, you have more or less categories, and it's easy to list 5 goals per category that you have. After setting out the goals that you want to achieve for the year, it's time to put out a game plan. A motto that I love to live by is, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Therefore, each goal needs to have a certain structure or a roadmap of how it's going to happen. Yes, it is important that you know what goal you're aiming for, but if you do not have the steps how to get there, you all of a sudden feel overwhelmed, don't know what to do, or you just do anything haphazardly and you actually don't fulfill the goal properly. So that is why using the acronym SMART is very important.
So the acronym SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. These are all questions you need to ask yourself for each and every single goal that you're going to be making. So specific means your goal needs to be specific and narrow to make it effective in planning. For example, using my example of wanting to run a half marathon. If I just said I want to run a half marathon, that is too vague, because do I want to run a full marathon or is it a half marathon? Which half marathon? There's the Sanlam half marathon, there's the Two Oceans half marathon. So I have to make it as narrow as possible, because that will give me specific details and plans of what I want to achieve. And then measurable. You need to show what evidence will prove that you're making progress. So still using the half marathon example, how I will know that there is progress. Every single week there's a certain number of kilometers I must be able to run. So if by the end of that week I'm able to run those specific kilometers, it means I'm making progress. The next part is attainable. You need to make sure that your goal can be achieved in a specific time frame. It mustn't be such a long time frame, but it also mustn't be short. For example, if you're training for a half marathon, you must at least have 14 to 16 weeks to train. So if I had 10, that was too little and I was going to overrun my body. And if I had more than that, it was still going to be fine. But with some goals, if you give yourself too big of a time frame, you end up relaxing and actually not working as consistently as you can. Then the next part is relevant. Whatever goal that you're going to be making, it must align with your values and your long-term objectives. Then the last part is your goal must be time-based. As I'm going to mention later on, if your goal does not have a deadline, it's going to end as a dream and it's not going to get achieved.
So after you have specified the goal, when it's supposed to happen, the timeline that you have given, and written down the steps that need to happen, you need to allocate it according to the 12 months or the 52 weeks or the 365 days that we have in a year. You can decide that each and every single day, each and every single week, or month, or even quarterly or half yearly, you're going to decide that these are the things that are going to happen in that amount of space of time. For example, I want to run a half marathon by the time it's April. That means from the 1st of January until the 3rd of April, there's at least 14 weeks for me to train, and on each of those 14 weeks, there's different things that I'm supposed to be doing to make sure that I train effectively for that marathon. Having these mini goals gives you target markets that you need to be reaching, and also helps you to know if you're actually moving forward with your goal or if it's not moving correctly. Obviously, you need to allocate it accordingly to the time frame that you've given yourself to achieve that goal. When you're giving allocation to your goals, when you want them to be done, please be realistic about this. We are all busy humans. There's a lot of things that are going to get in our way, a lot more other plans that might come up during the course of the year, even after we've planned out for the year. So you must give yourself enough time to achieve your goal, but also giving enough room so that should anything happen, you'll be able to maneuver around it and still be able to make the target that you've given yourself for the year. You need to make sure that your goals are visible. This could either be a wallpaper on your phone, having an actual vision board in your room, having a picture in the house, anything that is going to be a visual representation of the goals that you've planned for the year. When you see something constantly, there's a higher chance that you're actually going to make it happen than if it's hidden away somewhere in some file that you do not see. You are more likely to forget that you actually had that goal for the year. So make sure that your goals are visible. And obviously the next step is getting an accountability partner. If you have an accountability partner, they are more likely to keep you accountable for the goals that you have set for yourself or the mini steps that you have taken. So your accountability partner could be your friend, it could be your family, it can even be yourself. If you're going to be your own accountability partner, you need to have a form of punishment. This punishment could be you do not attend a certain function that you wanted to, you are not allowed to eat a certain food. Whatever punishment that is going to be severe for yourself, you can take that measurement. But it's always easier to have an outside accountability partner than yourself, because you're more likely to cheat yourself than someone else on the outside. Get started. I think majority of us, we get stuck in the planning phase where we get excited and we are seeing the future of the things that could be, but we actually do not put in the work. Or we start telling ourselves, you know what, I will start when it's the 3rd of the month, or I will start on the 1st of the new month. I don't want to start in the middle of a random month. Let's not give ourselves those excuses. If you have set a plan, as soon as you have written the last thing on your goals list, you should get started on those plans. Let's not wait for a perfect day, because a perfect day is never going to happen and you're constantly going to be procrastinating on getting to the actual beautiful future that you have designed for your life. So get started. And the last step that you need to take, personally for me, it's praying, dedicating my plans to God and what I have planned for the year. But obviously, if you're not a spiritual person, it could be a time for yourself to put yourself in the correct mindset of being productive. So this is the end of my video. I hope you guys liked this video and you have been motivated to plan effectively for the coming year. If you liked it, definitely give it a thumbs up. And if you know someone who could benefit from this video, definitely go straight to them and tell them to come over to the channel. And the last thing that I could ask for you, what is the number one goal that you have for yourself this year? Definitely drop it down in the comment section below. You never know, you might find someone who also has the same goal and you guys can become accountability partners for one another. I also would be interested to see what type of goals that you guys have. So hopefully you have an awesome and productive year going forward. Until next time, see you next week, Friday, 12 p.m. South African time. Goodbye, and I'm Silibaziso Mupereki.
Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end. If you missed my video from last week, you can click on the video on the left. If you'd like to know everything to do with nursing school, you can click on the playlist on the right. And if not, you can just click the subscribe button. Thank you.